Hello, everybody.
Hey, hey,
Hello, everyone. How are we today?
Great.
doing
Good.
well?
I'm so excited to collect all of my friends here to paint with me today and to tell everyone a little bit about some of the fun miniatures that are coming out from our partner friends like WizKids. I know if you've been following our socials, you've probably seen a little bit about this guy who is the adamantine dragon. And I love him. He's just one of my favorite miniatures they've done for us. But today, some of us are going to be painting the paintable version of him. And I'm really excited about that. Magellan, can you tell us a little bit about this dragon?
Yeah, for sure. The Adamantine Dragon is obviously the first of the new dragons we've done since your remaster edition. Obviously on the on the cover of was it the Monster Core? Yeah, Monster Core book. Um, Very excited to get it out there. It is currently available for pre-order. The pre-painted version will be releasing on June 11th. The unpainted version will be releasing a week later on June 18th. Yep, there it
Ooh.
is.
So wonderful. And here it is
Yeah.
out of its box. So that's exciting. So before we kick off painting this guy, or maybe some other things that my friends have brought along, why don't we do some introductions? Obviously, I'm BJ Hensley. I am the director of marketing here at Paizo, and you've probably seen me a time or two before if you've been watching all weekend. And I'm going to pass this over to Erik Mona, the most important person at Paizo, of course.
No. Hi, everybody. I'm Erik Mona. I'm the publisher and chief creative officer. I'm coming to you live from my unfinished basement, which is piled with books and other things and miniatures. And yeah, I am excited to be here with you guys. I love miniatures. You can't really see it, but part of the appeal of moving into this house is this big workbench that I'm standing at right now, just to kind of get in there. I haven't decided. I also got in the package this little guy, the underworld dragon, and I was thinking of maybe
Yes.
him as well. So we'll see how it goes. But
He's pretty amazing because you know that he's on the cover of Treasure Vault. So I
that's
was
right.
really excited when I received mine, and I can't paint them today because they are busy in my studio having pictures taken, like we've seen released recently with the Treasure Vault pictures. So
Right.
he's all tied up in a photo shoot.
Happens to the
Thirsty,
best of us.
would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit
Hello.
about your room.
Hi, yes, welcome to my hobby room that never is on display. I've broken all the cardinal rules here. So it was like, don't have a camera that's facing down at you, don't do all these things. I'm breaking these rules. I'm doing it intentionally though, because I do not, alas, have the dragon. It didn't come to me in time, but I do have a bit more of an iconic miniature to paint. I've got some goblins. You'll be able to see them as I hold them. Oh, you can't see them. Well, we should fix this, right? We should fix this. I'm just gonna come over here. I'm just gonna change over to here, and how about we just like do painting this way since I'm gonna be all like hyper detailed. So this is my goblin friend. Kind of see him.
Love that.
Yeah, you can see
Amazing.
I'm working on him. He's coming along. He's coming along a little bit. I'm gonna get the angle on this, I swear. So this is how I'm gonna paint today. I'm not gonna show my face. I'm gonna be like hidden here where you can see my hands. I'm gonna be one of those hand cam streamers, as they're called. And I am, yeah, the associate publisher here. I'm a minis painter. I brought some other minis of mine that I've maybe painted in the past for our games. Here's like a fun gray maiden. I've got some minis around here, so I'm looking forward to painting with my friends.
That's exciting. I
Is Eric
can't hear you,
muted?
Eric.
Is Eric
Eric
muted?
is
Eric
muted.
muted.
I said I like the wet palette. That's quite a flex there.
oh,
There's
Those
oh
are
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
I love mine. Those are so nice. I
They're
have one
nice.
and it's really good. I'm not using that today. I'm using a glass mat from a whole different thing, which I'm not going to show you because I didn't bother to set up a second camera. But those are nice. I do love the wet palette. A nice piece of glass is what I recommend because it works really well in situations like this where you're not going to be painting for a very long time, so you can just put a dot on there and then wipe it all off when you're done. Thirsty's just trying to out show us all.
I have to flex. Look. I don't
Yeah.
have I don't have many things. My hobby space is an important place. I wasn't gonna like pull paints up to my computer desk. I had to go all the way.
I
I've
did.
been
I'm like,
wanting to stream lately on like
not
and
my
paint stuff.
thing.
So I had to go all the way.
I brought stuff down from my craft room because my craft room just doesn't have as nice of a background as my office, and I wanted to be able to enjoy my background. See all the wonderful things like my WizKids stuffies over here and over here. I needed my little friends with me. So, and my craft room, the background would have been a Christmas tree. Like that's bad, right? In May, I felt like that was bad. So.
It probably looks better than a furnace and a bunch of half unopened boxes. But,
I mean, you said it, Eric,
yeah.
not me. No.
Hey, welcome
We
to the dungeon,
appreciate
the
it.
treasure chamber.
Treasure vault, the real treasure
Yes.
vault.
What Eric isn't telling everybody is this is actually where we've sent him to get all the work done because
That's
we've
right.
got so much to
This
do.
is my work dungeon.
We're keeping him captive.
I've been here for 11
remainder of the
years.
show.
So no.
We'll let you up one day.
Well, let's give Magellan a turn, and he can tell us a little bit about himself and what he does over there at WizKids, one of our amazing partners.
Yeah, I am Magellan Mulligan. It's a nickname, not my real name, but I've gone by it for so long. Most people just refer to me as that, including in work situations now. Yeah, I've been with WizKids for about 4 years, primarily as the RPG project production manager, and then for a while now, the producer on Pathfinder. But I guess now I'm the executive producer. Ink's still drying on that title. Here to paint the dragon. Obviously, this was honest. The adamantine dragon was actually the first dragon that I was producer on from the onset. I really wanted to get it made. And I'm really happy to be painting it today with you guys. So
That is really cool. Maybe while we paint, you can tell us a little bit about the process of how does this get made? Like this is we produce so many wonderful creatures at Paizo, and I always love when we have panels about like what people were thinking when they made these creatures, like where their inspiration was. But I mean, there's a lot of inspiration that goes into your job there too, Magellan. Like having these made, like how do you take this flat image of art and turn it into this wonderful real life depiction of our dragons?
well, I mean, credit goes to you guys here because you did some very lovely sort of anatomy drawings of all of your new dragons.
Like
So
Da
we had
Vinci
those to
style.
work with. So we had much more than just the cover and internal artwork to work with. We had that really great, sort of black and white sketch, drawings you did for the new dragons.
Oh,
But
those were so good.
they really detailed the anatomy, so we were really able to capture it. Usually we do try to blend sources when we can, so it's like that's something I usually try to particularly do. It's like instead of pulling from this one source, like let's pull details from all the things. Try to get as much representation of it as we can instead of drawing from a single source. So we obviously looked at the 3 pieces of artwork that we had available. The pose is more or less taken from the cover, the amazing Wayne Reynolds cover art, obviously. But with a lot more detail pulled in from the internal artwork in that book. And then anything we couldn't see from those drawings, we consulted with that black and white anatomy drawing that you guys did. So
Very cool. And then these go, you take and you have artists do their own renderings of these, right?
yes, we do. We have a number of contracted artists that we contract to get these done. Obviously, I don't want to misquote who actually did the sculpting work on this, so I probably won't. But we do have a guy that usually does a lot of our dragons. I'm pretty sure he did this one too. He always does a phenomenal job. And yeah, I loved this dragon. It was such a different design than you typically see with its like blunted, underbite, and it was just a great look. Definitely very different than anything we've done before. So
My
I was
kids
excited
like
to do this
it a
one.
lot.
Yeah.
Apparently, it reminds them of one of the How to Train Your Dragon dragons.
Yes. Was it like a grackle or some grunkle? I can't remember what the name
Grunkle?
of
The
it. Something
Grunkle,
like
I
that.
think. It's
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, they were really like, oh, that's
Yes.
so cool.
Yeah, kind of similar to that, but I really love this idea of a dragon that can burrow through the earth and pop out to ambush you and have an avalanche breath where they spit rocks at you. That's just very cool.
Yeah, that is
So
pretty amazing. The designers did a wonderful job creating the story for this epic creature. So, after your artists get done there, like where does it just, it goes to, you send it to a factory and it,
I mean,
how is this
yeah, I mean,
made? Do you
obviously,
know?
it
They
goes to
just
you guys first
magic?
to review it and give
Well,
us
yeah.
approval to send it to the factory. But yeah, we send the STL file off to the factory, who goes into outputs. We review the outputs, make sure everything looks good. From there, we move to basically what's called the PU stage, or polyurethane sample stage. So that they move
Ooh.
from output to that stage. That's where they determine all the part separations, things like that. How it's gonna tool, break part, how they're going to put it together in production. So then it goes to tooling, and then we get, first shots and first production samples and pre-production samples, and then ultimately, a final in the package, final sample, and we approve that, and it enters production. So.
And then there's a bunch of big machines that work really hard to make one of these happen, right?
Well,
Something like
it's
that?
done less by machine than you might think. It's actually,
Really?
yeah, most of our miniatures are painted by hand.
Oh,
There
wow.
obviously we have what's called it's like these little clamshells that you do spray offs with, that you
Mhm.
actually tool a little like area of like you blocking out big sections of color. So you'll like put it
Yeah,
on, people spray, get big blocks of color set, but a lot of details are actually done by hand.
that's really neat.
But now that I think I'm mostly done with my spiel, I'm gonna actually reposition my camera so you can see what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's just fun to know, like, there's so much hard work that goes into a single piece like this. Oh,
Yeah,
hey, you've made yours all orange.
I did. One thing you'll discover about me is that I am usually not a fan of painting things based on their actual theme. I like to do
Fair.
a little bit different takes on things. So
As somebody
I didn't want
who's
to subject everyone to me base color, coding and airbrushing, because obviously that was going to be very loud. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
I
so
didn't think about that, like, just doing it ahead of time. I was like, "Well, I guess I'm just, committed to doing the base coat by hand here."
yeah, yeah. I mean, plus I already have uh, a pre-painted version here, so I didn't want to do the same thing, obviously, and I don't know if I'd ever throw two adamantine dragons at anyone, but yeah, I was kind of thinking I would do a molten adamantine dragon, or
Very cool.
something like that, kind of an internal heat, and yeah, so that'd be kind of an interesting take. And I
It is.
wanted to base this actually in it's actually in fluorescent orange paint, so if I ever stuck it under a UV light, it should really pop.
That's super cool. I love that it's gonna glow. That's actually pretty amazing. I love that. Very cool. Eric, how about you? What are you doing over there? Do you have
Uh,
a theme or a plan for your little guy?
I am laying down a purple color as a base coat for this guy. It's coming in
Oh,
a little
very
lighter
nice.
than I was hoping for, but I'm gonna just go with it and see what happens. I'm gonna do him ultimately in kind of a darker blue, but I wanted to get some sort of purples under and dry brush, build it up that way. Um, I want to do a real.
Very
One of the
cool.
cool things about this underworld dragon is they've got this really vibrant. It's not vibrant now because it's not painted, but they've got this mane, and I'm really excited about
Yes.
getting in there with some dry brushing and kind of. I want to do like reds and oranges and stuff. So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. Is like early going at this stage. I'm using my worst brush, and just kind of
As you do.
throwing
Yeah.
down the block colors. And then I think what I'm going to do once I've got this down is start doing something similar on his chest plates and stuff, which I think I
Very
want to do is like a
nice.
lighter blue. But I like to build from a dark color and build up to light. So that's kind of what I'm
Yeah.
doing. So we'll see how it turns out. But I if this shade is not what I expect. I'm using a Cuttlefish Colors, cool
I've never
line of
tried
painting.
them.
Yeah, I bought their whole line at Gen Con a couple of years ago just because I was really over the pandemic I got really into painting again, and so I wanted to. I've got all the Reaper paints, and I love
I'm
those.
using Reapers today. I was using the Army Painter ones last time we did this. But today
I
I'm using
love the Reaper paints, especially the
Reaper paints are
Pathfinder
good.
range of Reaper paints. I really like,
Absolutely.
but I want to try something different, and this is like kind of a sketch and glaze process that they do, which I must confess I don't fully understand, but it has to do with It's sort of like contrast or speed paints a little bit in some ways. I shouldn't talk too much about the technique, but anyway, the different paints come in several different thicknesses.
Very
And this
cool.
is the base thickness. So this should be the thickest coat, but it's pretty thin. But you know what? I
Yeah.
kind of like a thin coat of paint. So
I am not a professional mini painter. I
me neither.
do exist as an artist. I have a pretty expansive art studio, and I have a lot of paints that do have like those. Here's your base coat, here's your this, and here's your that, because I tried a brand that has them, and I really love every one of them I've tried. But I do confess to being a little confused as to why they exist, because I'm like, right, but if I just take this paint and add a little bit of water, I don't know that
Yeah.
I need all of those. So, and I've always wondered, like, just out of curiosity, I'm sure there's like some kind of like drying, chemical or something that's put in them that makes them a little different. But I tend to just sort of use what's available. One thing I'm regretting right now is that I am used to using my art room tools, and I have a heat tool from various crafts and scrapbooking and stuff like that. And I use it to dry things. So right now I'm just doing the base dark coats and the washes to get the gray bases in. And I would usually be drying it right now, but no one wants to hear a hair dryer. So I'm just hoping if I just continue with the rest of it, it'll dry on its own by the time I get back to it. It's interesting the different techniques that everybody uses. There's so many wonderful ways to paint a miniature. I don't think you can really do it wrong. But everybody has a lot to teach along the way. I've learned as I've painted with various people over the years. It's always nice to see their techniques. Thirsty, how are you doing over there? I mean, isn't Thirsty like basically a professional mini
Oh
painter?
gosh.
I have seen
He's
some
the
of their
best
stuff. It's
painter
pretty
at Paizo.
amazing. Yeah, he's pretty amazing.
That's what I was
I
told. You're
wow.
award-winning in some cases, right?
I do have some best painted armies. Yes.
That's amazing.
I'm currently doing a wash over this fine little goblin. I did in prep for this end up doing a couple of steps on different goblins, so you can sort of see. So here I will show the camera. Ooh, like this would be like a base coat of one of the goblins. I'm gonna do my best. Look at me, I'm a goblin.
Yeah, goblin.
So you can kind of see like this is just a base coat of the skin, nothing too fancy. Actually, I could probably make it more visible for you. Okay, so there's like a little goblin. That's just a base coat, nothing too fancy. But what I just did with the next goblin I have here, which I'm gonna again pray I can. Yeah, there we go. You can see that this is getting some wash on him, and this is really like where I think most minis kind of pop off is when you do a base coat and then just put a wash. A lot of armies I've done for games and stuff, I just do a wash and that's enough to get it tabletop ready, and then you can kind of add on to there, whether it's highlighting or glazing or all those other fun techniques that are out there. But yeah, like
I
you
do
were
that
saying,
with the army painter stuff a lot. It's just
oh
that
yeah,
stuff is really good about really making it table ready with just a few coats. I actually the first time I used their paints, I was like, oh, I love this so much, but I now wonder why I'm here. As an artist, I'm like always trying to add all the different shadows and this and that and everything else. And it just sort of did it for me in the coding. And I was like, well, I'm just, I was a little bored. It's amazing stuff.
I
Thirsty,
just
what do you
picked up.
do to wash when you say I apply a wash for people who aren't big painters?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So like in this case, I'm just using a shade. So I'm using Citadel paints right now because that's what I got. So I'm using some Agrax Earth shade. That's just to put like shading onto the like cloth and leathers and stuff.
You put that in the deeper parts of the mini. Is that how you do it?
Yeah. So actually, you just kind of wash it all over in general.
I do
so
wash
this
all
hits
over,
yeah, this
that's
hits
what I'm
everything.
doing.
So if I look at like this mini that I prepped, this is a green coat that got smacked onto a goblin. And you can kind of see it's just filled in all of the recesses, and just given it like basically like a detailing. So all you have to do is go over it with some lighter colors, and you get like a natural sort of highlight from that, which it's kind of like the traditional yield Warhammer approach to painting, which is the base coat, wash, and then highlight up. There's a lot now.
Yes. Yeah, that's a lot of how I do it. I feel like it just gives more depth and dimension to the pieces if you're doing the washes and you're doing the different layers. And I don't know. I always dry brush everything at the end. It just even if it doesn't need it, I'm like, you know what? Dry brush. That's it. At
Well,
the end, we always highlight.
with the contrast paints and stuff now and the speed paints that exist out there, um, one of the like super interesting things that's come out is what is called on the internet the slap chop paint method, which is just you take a mini, you prime it typically like a black, and then you just do like a heavy gray dry brush, and then maybe a
Interesting.
lighter gray or lighter white, and then you hit it with the contrast paint. And that does
Yeah.
all the shading, like everything.
It
You can
does
see some really good
everything.
paint schemes that
Those
way.
speed paints are amazing, but I'm like, oh, you can paint so many of them at a time that way, though. Oh,
That
hold on.
reminds me of the with the zenithal shading technique with the airbrush where you hit it from
Yep.
the top like light.
Yeah, and it's like that, but just
I
with
never want to clean my airbrush. That's the biggest problem. It's like,
you want to know
Yeah,
you
mine's
want to
in
know
a
the big trick for
drawer.
that?
yes,
This
I
is
do.
the secret sauce. Gun bore oil.
What?
Gun
Go
oil?
and go buy. You can get it from like your local Walmart, I guess, down there. Hops number 9 gun bore oil. It's meant for cleaning guns. It will destroy
Nice.
anything inside of that airbrush, and all you do is you dunk the lid of your needle into that oil, and you run it through the airbrush, and it will dissolve any of the paint that's in there because it's meant to clean like all the crap that would be in a discharged firearm. It sure
Yeah.
goes through anything in an airbrush.
Interesting.
That's amazing. I'm gonna have to try that. I have an airbrush
Yeah.
currently. One of mine is just in a drawer going, nope, I refuse to exist. I don't know what I got stuck in it or what happened, but it just will not work. It won't clean. It's clogged.
Oh yeah. Like many moons ago when I started airbrushing, I used it once and I'm like, this thing is dumb. It doesn't work correctly. Then I had a
Yeah.
friend tell me about that, and it changed my life with airbrushing.
I have an
Cool.
expensive makeup airbrush that I never, ever, ever use that I keep threatening to turn it into a minis brush. I'm like, surely it seems like the same thing to me, but
My compressor's a makeup compressor.
I have one of those expensive ones. I forget what it's called now, but it was really expensive at the time. And I was like, I used it like twice. I was like, this is not for me. I don't have that kind of time in my life. I'd rather be painting, I don't know, miniatures than my face. So I just shoved it in a drawer. And I've been thinking about lately, like, I wonder if I could just use that the
Hey,
same as I would in the room.
makeup equipment's super useful. I can just kind of pan up my camera like this. All my paints are just on makeup trays.
Oh yes, yeah. I have mine on
That's
makeup trays too.
how
I
I
have
store
I have
all
the
of them.
circle ones that turn. Those are really nice.
Yeah.
So we have a question that people would like to know the answer to. How, Eric, do we decide which monsters we turn into minis?
Oh, that's a great question. I used to be the guy who made that decision all the time. So I'll tell you how I decided what to do. A couple of different things. One, it's important to remember that it is like a business, and people want you can't just do the most niche ideas ever. You want to have stuff that people are going to use at the table in a large amount, and then I would always give myself like a gimme of just like one for me. That's why there's like a seaweed siren miniature. There's a handful that I just really loved, and I'm like, well, here it is. Actually, I've got all my old WizKids pre-paints out. So like this guy right here
I love that.
is a good example. Like that, I don't know would be a great choice, but it was such an awesome figure. I had to make it. So be the publisher and then cheat and get one no matter what you want. That's my best advice. But really, I would look at a couple of things. Like utility at the table is really, really important. These are meant to be used. And so you got to have stuff that people are generally going to want. And that has a lot to do with the product configuration. If it's like a blind box, you can get away with a little bit of like otter creatures. In fact, some of those customers want those stranger creatures. But for the most part, first step is be pretty safe in your choices. Second step is look at the art. Our art is all hopefully beautiful at Paizo, but not all of our art is ideal for transition into a 3D format. So, for example, a head and shoulders shot of a character, it's going to leave a lot to the 3D artist to extrapolate, and that could lead to approval problems or just difference in perspective or point of view. So, a full body illustration is great for a very important character, a full front and back. illustration is great, but that's pretty rare. And WizKids and our other partners have been very, very good about extrapolating like what the back of a character looks like. So that's not such a big issue. I really want stuff that's dynamic and interesting to look at, and that starts, I think, with the flat two-dimensional art. And I can kind of look at a 2D piece of art and say that's going to make an awesome miniature, or that part there that's kind of muddy in its details is fine for an atmospheric print piece of illustration, but is going to cause problems for a 3D transition. So quality of art, which in this case often means clarity of anatomy and clarity of just like line, I think is really, really important. It's hard to make a quality three-dimensional miniature out of a highly stylistic two-dimensional image. So I'm looking for, is it readable as an image? Is it a popular monster that's likely to be used a lot? Or could it stand in for a popular monster that could be used a lot? Or is the illustration just so friggin' cool that it doesn't matter? Like, people will look at it and just go, oh my God, I need that as a figure. So that was kind of my thought process is, do I like it? Do I think the audience will like it? Is it high utility? Is it a readable illustration to ease the manufacturing process? And is it cool? Pretty basic criteria.
I think those all make sense to me.
Yeah, I could elaborate on some of my selection process.
Would love to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been selecting the minis now recently for the last few sets, like Armies of the Dead. That booster was one that I did all the selections for. Obviously, I will run all my selections past you guys at Paizo for approval before we move forward. But I mean, there's a lot that goes into a blind booster as far as like figuring out what is best at which rarities. And obviously, there's kind of some budget concerns with each rarity as well. There's kind of like sort of an allotted complexity and paint steps that keeps scaling up with how rare they are within the set. Commons, usually you want to kind of target creatures that aren't like the most elaborate thing in the world to paint. Pretty simple stuff for the most part. You got ghosts, or like I did a combusted, which is like a flaming skeleton, and like so that's basically it's one color for the most part with the black bones painted on top of it. So that's a pretty good common rarity. And then just things that you want, really, also you gotta kind of consider how useful it is in numbers. Like you keep you need to balance budget with how many people are going to want of this miniature. So you want to make sure that if people want a group of this thing, make sure it stays in common. If you're only going to need one of it, make it something really fantastic and put it in rare, like things like a lich. You're never going to fight a group of liches typically. You're probably fighting one lich. So put that in rare. Really go crazy with it. Give it cool things. Like I know in Armies of the Dead, I pulled you had artwork for actually a player character lich from the Book of the Dead that I thought was super cool. It was like a female elf character who had an undead monkey, like familiar, like a monkey skeleton on their shoulder. So that was like a very cool thing. It's like, okay, that's something I want as a rare. People will hopefully be into that. So yeah, you kind of just figure out where things are going to sit in rarities and do your best to make sure that things that people want a lot of stay in common. Things people want a few of, make sure that's an uncommon. Keep rares to things that you really only need one of. So
sometimes you get to add a fun chaser in there just because it's cute or fun.
Or because you're mad with power.
That's
yeah,
right.
to Eric's point, the Death Coach was very much a for me. I thought people would love it too, but
I do love it.
Yeah, when I saw the artwork of this, I was like, I need to make this into a mini. And people told me it's gonna it's gonna be like 4 tools worth of because obviously it's so pretty complex. It's probably the most complex mini we've done. I know it's not that big, but it is complex. And then I added this effect to it that it actually glows in the dark blue. So yeah, if you actually have it under UV light, it will light up blue. I wanted to do purple, but unfortunately that was not an option. But yes, this will glow in the dark blue if you charge it under a UV light. So
can confirm it does. Incredible. I love mine. It is amazing. I always like to see something cute or something that appeals to all ages or all groups, in a set.
Yeah, I mean obviously people love cute.
The leshies were
it can
good.
be a little divisive at times. Sometimes fans will be like, I don't want cute things. I want horrible
true.
monsters to throw at my players. So they're
Yeah, you can't just do all cute. Nobody
you
needs that
can't
because
do
we
all
all have
cute.
to have monsters, right?
Or if you do all cute, make it don't have it be a big percentage of a booster. Let people buy into what they
Right.
know what they're getting. Like the Leshy set,
Exactly.
obviously.
The
That was
Leshy
another.
set was a really good one. I loved that.
Yeah, Leshy set was another one. That was actually one of my first I worked on for Pathfinder, so I have it right here. If you're
I
unfamiliar.
had it, but I was like, oh, it's way over there. I don't know. Like, yes,
Yeah.
those are so cute.
Yeah,
I love
this was
that.
among the first things I was actually a producer on when I moved over to the Pathfinder brand. So
People really do love them. You did a great job.
well, yeah. But I mean, obviously, you don't usually throw armies of Leshies at people, so that's probably not the best thing for a booster.
That would be weird. Yeah, that
Yeah.
would not be good for a booster. Definitely not.
Might be good for a war game, though. I'm gonna write that down.
Thanks.
Garden War.
Garden War. That sounds familiar. I think my grandson was playing something similar this weekend. Because I think that's he actually really enjoys the Leshies because they remind him of Plants vs Zombies.
Oh, fair.
Yeah, that is a game that we play together because it gets me out of playing Minecraft.
Yeah, you guys do cute very well, and I do occasionally see something like, yeah, that's a thing we should make.
Like, but I think we do a good job of having a balance because, like you said, you can't just do all cute. That would be silly.
No,
like,
for sure.
We're making games here, but I do think we have a really good balance of having like ever so often there's just this cute thing that gets a great following, and I think Warp is a good example of that. And frankly, our goblins. Some people wouldn't agree with me, but I think our goblins are amazingly adorable, and I've collected them for many, many years.
Yeah,
I've always been a fan.
Well, I'm painting them right now.
I know, they're my favorite. My favorite Pathfinder book is actually Goblins of Galarian from first edition. I loved that. I still do. It remains my favorite book to this day.
I don't remember
I love the goblins.
what book it debuted in, but it's on my short list of things I really want to make is a monkey goblin. You guys have this artwork of a monkey goblin dressed up as a pirate, and I want to make it so bad.
I believe the monkey goblin. I believe the monkey goblin came from RPG Superstar. I think it was Rob McCreary made it up as one of his submissions for RPG Superstar, and we ended up hiring him.
Yep.
Well, don't be surprised if a monkey goblin manages to work its way into a set at some point.
Don't be surprised.
I would really like to make.
I will be thrilled.
Don't be surprised if that idea flies through approvals because we love that idea.
Nobody's objecting here. Definitely not.
Boy, my guy is coming across like the Epcot Center dragon.
It's quite pink.
Figment.
Oh, yes. Figment! I love Figment, though, honestly.
Dreamfinders, wonderful little.
Drew's giving you the opportunity to put him back up there so we can see a little better.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah, that's nice. Getting all your color down really good, though.
Very nice.
Yeah,
so I am still working here on doing the dimension for the back of my dragon. So it's a little rough right now. It looks a lot like rocks.
It's cool
though. See the difference between the wet and the dry. You can really tell. But that is where I'm at. I'm just kind of the underneath here that's really wet. So how about you, Magellan? Where are you at on yours?
I'm blocking out the non-molten colors.
Oh yeah, smart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's where we're at. I don't expect I'm going to get this done within the hour we have.
God, no. No, I don't expect any of it. Well, I mean, Thirsty will probably finish a few.
Yeah. No, gosh, no.
Yeah, I have a very eclectic mix of paints. I don't actually have any speed paints. I really should pick some up at some point, play with those.
I really like mine. They were a gift from the makers of speed paint, and I don't think I had tried them before that, and I was really very impressed. I do admit to when I first tried them, just that moment of, well, I'm a little disappointed here. I brought 3 miniatures and now they're done. It's been 20 minutes and I'm not sure what to do with myself. But oh my gosh, are they just amazing for just getting layers down on armies. Like when you're painting, like if you're into painting like an army because you want to do an epic battle at the end of your campaign, or if you happen to be a Warhammer player or whatever, like honestly, They save so much time. They're perfect for those tedious, repetitive miniatures where you're just painting the same mini over and over and over again because they really do look fantastic at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If I was in my studio, I would grab a few miniatures painted with them and show them to you, but I'm not. They're really good. I highly recommend trying them out. They definitely have uses. I don't think I've disliked a paint that I've tried really, either the Reapers or Army Painter or Citadel. They've all been good. They all have their own things. Um, I know Thirsty has a bunch of experience with various paints as well.
Yeah, I love them just for even for effects. You can do some really cool stuff with controlling them with like mixing mediums, things like that.
Oh yeah.
I've done some work with them for like doing power swords or like color shifting that you can really get
I
some
could
good
see that.
glazing with. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they're also, I find, really good for base coating. Just a lot of different base coating. Also really good for visors in your sci-fi miniatures. Do like
Oh yes.
do like a dab of white and then just block in a color. Yeah.
I could definitely see that working. I'll just use whatever I have available. I'm probably
yeah.
like professional mini painters probably are horrified by the fact that people like me exist. Like I'll use nail polish for clear coats, and sometimes I just actually use my golden paint for stuff. Like this is a fun silvery color that I like from Golden, and I tend to use it for swords and stuff. Or in this case, I'm gonna dry brush a little bit of it on the adamantine dragon when I'm done. So I mix and match things I shouldn't, and use all kinds of strange stuff. I'm not the one to take advice from. Oh, that's really looking
Here's
great.
Here's a classic gentleman. You might have seen him around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Many years ago, I loath to say how long ago, did like a whole bunch of classic Paizo miniatures. Here's another villain you may recognize. Queen Iliosa.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, and of course the Red Mantis.
Oh, that's
needed a couple of these.
Yeah.
Just for campaigns I was running back in the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, so somebody asked me a question and they said, what is your favorite gold paint for minis? I am going to be honest, there are a lot of that I have run across that I didn't so much enjoy, or they didn't quite have the sheen that I wanted. So again, I actually default to the fluid acrylics from Golden for a lot of my metal and shimmery type stuff. I think they just, for some reason, gold is really hard to get a true gold. I think a lot of times it looks more coppery, and I'm really nitpicky about my colors and making them the color I want them to be. And I think the Golden has the colors I'm usually looking for. But I suspect that everybody else here has some great examples of gold paint as well. Maybe Thirsty?
I'm
No,
looking.
maybe not?
I'm looking. Let me roll back and check my I have a Warhammer mini I could show with that. Sure.
Oh, yeah. I think Citadel has some golds that are probably nice that I don't think I've tried yet. I keep meaning to, but I really like how it actually looks gold on the oh yeah, those are nice.
Yeah, so this is just the Citadel golds. I like them, but they're very dirty. They aren't quite as shiny, so I tend to enjoy those kind of golds. But I've had a lot of friends who have gone into a whole bunch of different paint lines, like the AK paint lines and things like that, where you can get some really, really vibrant silvers, especially.
Yes, yeah. And I think there's a lot of good colors in the lines. It's just when I'm doing gold, I think I did a turtle recently that had some gold on it, and I really want it to be sort of like this gold, like the gold here on my dragon. I want legitimate gold. So I find that traditional artist color palettes have those a little bit more than the ones I've seen like at the local store where you can go to buy the miniature paints. Now, I'm sure that there's some stuff online though that's really good as well. I liked your colors there. I thought those were good.
Yeah, I would probably horrify professional mini painters by saying I sometimes use Tamiya paints on minis because they're not meant for that.
Oh, I don't know what
Um,
that is.
but yeah, I actually painted toys a little bit before I ever got into miniatures, and I
It's
used
kind of the
Tamiya
same,
because
really.
it was yeah, it was pretty durable, and I don't know, they're metallics. I found I actually really like Tamiya metallics, and they're clear colors as well. Which I know if I probably did speed paints, there's plenty of things I could lay on as a glaze over clear parts, and they'd work just
Mm.
as well. But I have a fairly sizable collection of Tamiya paints, so I still use them.
I feel that way about my Nova collection. So if you're into like acrylic painting, especially if you're doing like, any kind of large mural painting and stuff like that, there's a company out of California called Nova Paint, and they make some really lovely like pearlescent colors and stuff that to this day I enjoy and use on a variety of things, but they're nowhere near the hobby space. I'm not even sure I would recommend buying them for that. It's just that I have them for other purposes, and because I do, I can use them in this space as well, and it
Yeah.
works out really, really good.
I've done a lot of weird things with mixing things into paints that
Me
are maybe
too.
not meant for it, but I know my wife has a pretty sizable collection of this, various crafting materials, and I've been
Yes.
mixing in like various like metallic shimmers and things into clear paints.
Glitter.
Yeah, well, I hate
So
glitter, but yes.
I know y'all hate glitter, but just bear with me. So sometime back, Stefan at Dwarven Forge, like years ago, he came out with like some ice caverns, and we got some, and we're like, well, we're gonna paint them because they were like this clear color, and I really wanted it to be a snowy theme, and so I just took white paint, and then I went to Michael's and I got snow glitter, which is a different kind of glitter that's very fine, and I use it too when I'm making like Christmas cards and snow globes and stuff like that, and it doesn't glitter as much as it actually looks like legitimate snow powder. And you mix it in with the white and you put it on these tiles, and it makes for fantastic winter look. It looks just like snow. It's very, very cool. So I think that there are a lot of ways we can use stuff in our crafts rooms and in other aspects of our life to make things like that. Oh my gosh, what have you got there,
So
Thirsty?
that is a color shift, one of
That's
the blue color
beautiful.
shifts. And this is an example of what I was saying you can do with a mini with just base colors and a wash. What I did here was essentially sprayed it black, and then I used the airbrush to get all this color shift on, and then yeah, just some extra
That's
colors, some
very
washes,
cool.
and that's it. You are
It's so
done.
quick. It's so quick. I remember when I first started painting minis, I'd spend like a weeks on one smaller, not like a large mini, but one smaller one because I was just very must be detailed. And now I'm like, I've learned about washes and all that kind of stuff that just make it so much easier.
Yeah,
Of course, now I go through them faster.
it's why I kind of go through like, I don't know, I have probably 10 different companies of paints because each one
Same.
will do some different specific
Mm-hmm.
thing or have some specific product, or I
It's
just
true.
bought my first pro acryl white because it is like one of the most lustrous whites and I want to paint marble, and then I'm like, how do you paint
Oh,
marble on bases? Oh, you buy baby
yes.
wipes. Of course, that makes sense. And like just learning all of these techniques you can do.
You do the same thing in journaling. So when I do art journaling, you use a baby wipe and you take certain colors, and that's how you make the marbled look on
Yeah.
journaling paper. So it's really, really handy. I prefer Huggy wipes. I've tried the cheap ones lately, and frankly, they are not great.
It's so strange because you also are like, yeah, you're drying them out in the sun,
Mhm.
and then my partner's like, why are you buying baby wipes? And I'm like, no questions.
Don't ask me these
Yeah.
questions. That's funny. Yeah, there's a lot of different fun techniques that are out there. So someone asked the question, if you could make a miniature out of any monster or character, who or what would that miniature be? That's a great question.
I mean, yeah, I've been in that position at this point. I've gotten to do that a couple times.
Yeah.
I'm very, I guess I'll say, I'm very excited about Planar Perils, the upcoming booster.
Oh, yes.
Getting to do Mephistopheles based on the Wayne Reynolds artwork was just such a huge thing for me. Like, I love that art, and getting to make a mini out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so uh, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one coming out. I'll need to work on what my next dream one will be because I got to do it.
Fair. That's fair.
Always the tricky part with questions like these. Like, what's
I
your
know.
dream? Oh, my dream is currently underway.
Yeah. I love all of my children equally. I feel like that's often the response to any what is your favorite anything. People ask me what my favorite book is all the time, and I'm like, I have no idea. How about you, Eric? I'm sure you've turned all of them you want to at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
Managers,
I've done
right?
it like probably literally hundreds of times. Not to, so the novelty's a little off. I think I haven't done it in a while though. So I think I don't know. I mean, I'll probably just be like at the end of the day, I'm just a standard gamer. So I guess I'd say like one of my characters. I'd like to see
Oh,
one of
yeah.
my player characters turned into a miniature.
Are
So
none of
let's
our
see.
iconics one of your player characters?
One of my
None of
player
them?
characters, yeah, I think. So like I don't know. I'm playing right now in my Friday Night Pathfinder campaign. I'm playing a Gorin character, which is a race I made up of plant people they're basically evolved from magical food. And so over thousands of years, they evolved human characteristics to stop humans from eating them. So every emotion that they have is just like a evolutionary adaptation to not be devoured. And so my character in my Friday game is a shaman called Dandelion Dairy, and he's got a big flower face, and so I think I'd like to get a cool Gorin miniature. That's my answer right this second. It'll change by dinner time, I'm sure.
It's a good one. How about you, Thursday?
You know what? I would love to get like sort of high quality paintable deep cut style minis for all of the original Rune Lords.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, the Karzug I just showed earlier, but like they always kind of have a place in my heart that seems like it'd just be a fun project to sit down and paint.
They've
You
got
know,
the sculpts for that.
yeah,
They did the pre-painted version.
We should
yeah,
absolutely release an unpainted version of that.
yeah.
There you
Yes, let's
go.
do it.
Do
Approved.
it.
See, that's how it happens. See, haha. See, it's tricky to say your dreams because they'll just happen
Some will
sometimes.
make them happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think if I had to pick one that I really desperately want to see right now, right this minute, it would be Werp. I really, really want a Werp miniature. Werp is amazing. I have a Werp somewhere. Here we go. So this is Werp. He's this adorable little robot from Pathfinder, and I think he'd make a fantastic miniature.
He is the
We have a
inventor.
miniature of Werp.
What? No,
We
do
do.
we?
It is an iconic Heroes 11. That was another set that I worked on.
Is it a
Werp is in
paintable
there.
one?
There
I
is
guess I could
not.
just paint over it though.
There is not an unpainted version. There
I
is
was
only the
thinking
pre-painted
unpainted
version.
versions. Yeah. Well, that's fair. The pre-painted version is pretty awesome, and I guess I could just paint over it. I want to do something specific, so I wanted an unpainted
Yeah.
version, so I
Werp
could do
is
him in different
not
colors.
particularly hard to paint. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I want him in different colors though. So I did not think about the fact that I could just paint over the one that we already have existing, but that is fair. I don't know then. Something sea related. Too many really cool sea related monsters lately, folks. Still looking my
Sea-related
YouTube.
monsters. There's a Sarglagon, or
Yeah.
drowning devil
Yeah,
in
that's a cool monster.
Planar
That is.
Perils. So
Yeah.
there's going to be an unpainted version of that coming out.
Oh, nice. Good. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
that
gonna
is
be fun.
amazing. Now that one will be fun, yes. There's so many miniatures out there too. I feel like every time I'm like, I can't find this, somebody will be like, it exists. It's right here.
But,
It happens all the time. And I have thousands of them, thousands of miniatures. And still, I'm like, what's worse is occasionally someone will be like, hey, I'll be looking for something. And they'll be like, yeah, it exists here. And then I'll realize I actually own it.
Yep.
It is
Oh, yeah.
somewhere in there,
Oh,
and I've got to go
yes.
dig it out and feel ashamed of myself.
Classic.
So it happens quite often. So Magellan, somebody in the chat wants to know what has been your favorite miniature to make ever?
ooh,
That's a hard one.
it's honestly the Death Coach.
That's fair.
I that whole Armies of the Dead set coalesced around my desire to make that Death Coach.
Aw.
That was this. I saw that artwork and I was just like, this is the coolest thing. I want to make a mini of this. Beyond that, I am very excited for the Diabolic Dragon. That's going to be the set premium for Planar
Oh
Perils.
God, yes, that is
That
gonna be
is
so
looks.
good.
It turned out amazing.
I
I
love
am
dragons.
so looking forward to that being out in players' hands.
Oh, it's gonna be a good one. I think I'm just always excited for more dragons, and it doesn't seem to matter how many companies come out with various dragons. I'm always excited for new ones. I'm constantly collecting dragon miniatures to paint. We
Yeah.
have a game room that is there's shelves in there, and they're just full of dragons, painted, pre-paint, unpainted, whatever. But it's just so many of them, and I just keep collecting them. It's never enough. So Zin Holmes wants to know if you're planning on using a mini in a game, how far ahead of the game do you want to start painting it?
4 months ago.
4 months ago.
Like I'm the worst for like, I'm gonna buy this mini, I'm gonna use it in this campaign, it's gonna be great. Never happens.
Never happens. No.
Ever happens. That's why it's good to like focus certain things, like, if you have major villains, if you have player characters. I ended up using an old Reaper mini. Gosh, one of the cover of Council of Thieves, fellow with a cane whose name I forget, but I ended up painting that as a villain for a campaign. So it was like, I painted that mini, and it was the mini that I could constantly use on maps and other things. But as far as timing, it also just depends on how fast you are as a painter too, right? Like,
I guess that's fair, yeah.
Yeah, I'm real slow, so I'd have to start way ahead of time.
I tend
It
to,
depends on what I'm painting.
if I'm, it's one thing if you're running a published adventure and need a very specific NPC or whatever, but if I'm running my own home campaign, I tend to actually take a look at my painted miniatures that I already have and build villains based off of those.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I'll have an idea where I need to do a new one, but that way, and I have a lot of pre-painted figures from WizKids primarily, so that helps as well. But yeah, I tend to stick to the already painted ones, and then I don't have to worry about it. I don't like painting miniatures on a time clock. I like miniature painting to be a therapeutic relaxation sort of thing for me. So that and a deadline don't really mix particularly well in my mind.
I think that's fair, honestly. I guess if I was going to plan to paint one ahead of time that I needed, like Thursday, I would want a few months. But the reality is it would probably look more like I decide the night before that I need a miniature for a thing that I have an idea for, and I'm up at 2 a.m. speed painting a thing to make it work the next day. So sort of how that actually works in reality versus what we would like to see.
Yeah, I sort of need that deadline often okay, I need to paint this thing.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I need like a Warhammer tournament that's coming up or something, and then I'm like, okay, I have to get it all done by this date.
So I paint Warhammer things sometimes just to relax because I don't need them. I don't necessarily have to have them. I just finished painting the turtle from the Deepkin set that I really had fun with. I like doing the base on that one. And right now I'm working on painting a new tank that I'm really excited for because I'm making a Hello Kitty Space Army.
Wow.
Yeah, weird things I do in my spare time, right? Like Hello Kitty Space Army. Here we are.
I just came off of painting 3 tanks, so I feel that.
Oh,
I cannot paint tanks for a while.
I asked for that tank for my birthday. It's the Baneblade, and I'm super excited for it. I'm here and excited to paint it. I also had like little helmets with kitten ears printed to replace on my Space Marines. I'm really excited for this army. But yeah, so we've only got a few minutes left. I think I'm still where I was. I'm here painting the rocky back of this. I think we're all kind of, you can't really paint a miniature this size in an hour. Maybe each of us can go around and talk about what we're most excited to paint next, because I already went, I'm painting a tank and an Hello Kitty army. Does anybody have anything on like their to be painted list that they're really excited for coming up? Who we need to pick from?
I'll probably just continue painting this guy. I got can't really see it
hey.
great, but I got some red on his thing, and I'm liking the tone of that red. Hard to see, I
That's
guess,
nice.
but yeah, so that's cool. I'm just gonna finish painting my underworld dragon.
There you go. I will definitely finish this guy. I don't like to leave a miniature unfinished, so I'm sure I will post pictures when I get him done.
Yeah,
And
I'm
then
gonna
I'll be
keep
back to
cracking
tanks.
on this one. Beyond that, looking forward to, I don't know. In Planar Perils, we have a Zoium, or it's a type of Archon. It's like a biblically accurate angel
Yes.
Archon.
Nice.
We're doing an unpainted version of that. I really want to paint the wings to look like stained glass. Like,
Oh,
I think that would look
that
really
sounds
cool.
amazing. That sounds amazing. Somebody wants to know, will you share pictures of the Hello Kitty Space Army in your Discord channel, BJ? Yes, I will absolutely share pictures in the Discord channel of my Hello Kitty Space Army. Just don't be sad if you don't see them for a long time. It took me 6 months to paint that space turtle. I got a lot going on. Lots of really cool Paizo things to market over here. I will probably post it also on my Facebook. You can just sort of Google BJ Hensley. It's pretty easy to find the spaces that I'm in. So if you're on Facebook or Insta or Blue Sky, I don't do Twitter, but I'm in a lot of those places, and I tend to post pictures of the games I'm playing and the things I'm working on. All right, Thirsty, how's your goblin coming along?
I highlighted a cape. It's got a
Nice.
little highlighted cape.
That is nice. That's
Pretty
nice.
nice little blue cape for this little guy. So
Very
I'm pretty
good.
happy. Made some progress on him. Probably get these guys painted up, and yeah.
I'm just starting to add like some of the rustic color to the wing. It's really hard to see on the camera though, like especially since it's wet, so it all just sort of looks like wet clay right now. But I'm just starting to do the washes for the color here to add in that little bit of rustic color. And as a reminder, you can get, if you want to paint your own, or if you don't, you can get the fully painted guy here, like this, from the WizKids website, and I believe in our own store as well.
Yep.
Either of those. We are just about out of time. Magellan, is there anything coming up from WizKids? Any new releases coming up that you're excited for that you'd like to tell people about before
I've mentioned it a couple times, but Planar Perils is their next Pathfinder booster. I'm very excited about it. It is loaded with lots of fiends, archons, elementals, lots of cool stuff. I already mentioned that Mephistopheles is in it, based on that Wayne Reynolds artwork of him.
Wayne Reynolds is amazing.
It's also going to be our very first miniature of Asmodeus, or Asmodeus. How do you all pronounce that?
I say Asmodeus.
Okay. I say Asmodeus.
All right. Well, anyway, however you choose to pronounce it, he's also in the set. He's a rare, but yeah. So if you like some big bads from hell, check that out. And yeah, the set premium is the Diabolic Dragon for that, which turned out amazing. If
That's exciting.
Yeah, please check it out. Yeah.
If Magellan sends me some, I'll post pictures of those on my socials too.
Yeah, it's in tooling right now, so I haven't actually seen any first shots of that yet.
Yeah, no.
But probably fairly soon I'll be seeing the very first. We've moved on from PU samples, so it is in tooling. So
super exciting. Very cool. This is actually fun. I might. I think I'm on my way to a, funny enough, therapeutic panel about education and therapy in RPGs. Might just keep painting through that panel.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's right here in front of me. I might as well.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying this guy. This is a really fun one to paint, y'all. I really do recommend it. I think if you're into dragons, and I think too, if you paint it sort of by the box, it's really kind of an easy one because you're just doing a lot of stonework and then a little bit of highlighting some rustic colors in there. I think it'll look really good.
Yeah, if you just hit it with a number of dry brushes, you can probably get a pretty good effect on this one.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I've
A
just
lot
been
of
doing
rocky
washes.
texture to pick up. Yeah,
Yes.
dry brush.
Definitely.
That's where I feel about this Underworld Dragon. I highly recommend this guy. Lots of really cool contours. Pretty awesome. I'm really enjoying painting this.
That was a fun one too. I'm gonna paint it eventually once it's done with its photo shoot because I'm really having fun using it to take photos of Treasure Vault.
I've noticed that.
I put so many dice too. There's all kinds of dice in that picture. That dragon that you're painting right now, you may not know this, but he's a dice hoarder. Yeah.
I believe it.
Makes sense.
I knew I liked him for some reason.
There you go. All right. Well, it was so wonderful to be here today, and thank all of you for joining me and painting so we could talk about fun miniatures and have a good time together. Thank you, everybody here, for joining us and hanging out with us while we painted. I look forward to seeing you in the AMA spaces. Have a good
Later,
rest of your
everybody.
weekend.
All right. Bye,
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.